What's up, you guys? It's your favorite cutie Mel, back again on my Soul Pot channel to give you guys yet another day, yet another video. Don't mind my nails. I had a little mishap here, and then like a few of my nails popped off. I think it's because I had buffed them too much and made them a little bit too smooth. Anyway, that has nothing to do with this video. Thanks for clicking. If you made it here, I hope that you're having a good day. Please go ahead and subscribe and give me a thumbs up for this video, especially if you like things pertaining to business, art, etc. So many things that I talk about on this channel, life. So yeah, I'm just gonna get straight into it. And yeah, so this video is about 10 or 11 things that I feel like I wish I would have known before I chose to go after a music career. I want to share these things because there might be someone out there who is excited to be an artist, and I want to give these tips not to discourage, but to just give you a more realistic scope about what it is that you're getting into. So here we go. The first thing that I want to say to anybody who wants to be a music artist, my first suggestion and my number one tip is to get your own studio. One thing, I'm going to get into this later, but yeah, get your own studio, invest in your own studio equipment. If that means that you have to get a job for a little bit till you can get every piece of studio equipment, do that. If you know any artist friends who may have studios, ask them if they have any old mics laying around or any old interfaces, anything that they can contribute. Get your own setup because it's going to come in handy for you. You don't want to be depending on other people to be able to record your art and just get your art out. That's my first tip, especially as a new artist. And that's something that I would have done if I was in a more stable situation. When I first started being an artist, I would have loved, if I could do it all over again, to just get my own studio. I feel like I would have a way larger catalog by now, and things just would have been, you know, a lot easier as far as recording my content. And always remember that even if you're not good at mixing, you can always still record the things yourself. So you can have scratch demos, and you can always re-record as you get better. And typically, as long as you have a good mic and it's quiet, you can send your files to be mixed by someone professionally, and that'll still be cheaper than you going through the whole process of renting out a studio, trying to finish things in a timely manner without rushing, and then also paying to get everything mixed and mastered. Two would be learn to do as much as you can on your own. So this kind of goes hand in hand with getting a studio, because when you get a studio, you're going to need to learn how to use whatever system that you're working with, whether that be Logic, Pro Tools, Fruity Loops, whatever, GarageBand. You need to be able to do those things yourself, and not even just recording, but try to learn how to edit videos if you can. Try to do as much as you can on your own, because that brings me to my next tip, which is well, not necessarily a tip, but just letting you know it may be a while before you find a team. So in some circumstances, you can be very extremely lucky, and maybe you and your friends hit it off and you guys are able to work together, and then bam, you have an instant team if you guys are all interested in kind of going in the same direction. Like, say you have a friend who's really good with video, and he's just down, she's just down to help you out with that, and you have another friend who's really good at networking, so that friend's gonna take on the position of a manager, so and so. You have another friend who just happens to love making beats, so bam, you have a producer. And if that falls in line for you like that, amazing. That is the case for some people, but it is not for others. So that goes back to 1 and 2, which is basically just try to learn how to do as much as you can on your own. Be as self-sufficient as you can. That's going to save you money. It's going to save you time, a lot of wasted time, trying to deal with other people. Just trust me on that one. Next one is don't sign with the first manager who appears. So I had this issue when I was very young, first out of high school, trying to figure out how to get a manager and stuff like that. Do not rush to sign with management. I know that it can seem very enticing to feel like, okay, I have a manager, this and that. But honestly, you can wait until you actually need a manager. A manager, you should have someone when you actually have things to manage. So when it's getting out of hand and you have multiple shows booked a week and you can't handle getting back on the emails, and when you need someone to do this and do that, like in most cases when you first start, you're not going to need a manager. And also keep in mind that when you do have a manager, if you don't have anything to manage, typically if it's not your friend or someone that you know, they're going to want anywhere between 10 to 30% of your income when you're getting things from shows and stuff like that. So if you're not even really getting paid for shows, then you don't need a manager. If you're not really making a significant income from your music, you don't need a manager. And if you're not super overbooked, you definitely don't need a manager. So you can bypass that and, you know, just be patient with that, because you want to get to know these people as a person. You want to get to know the character of each and every person that you consider is a part of your team. Next, it's something that I feel like most artists have big dreams of, you know, becoming a signed artist. And the next tip or thing that I would have told myself is signing a record deal doesn't always equal success. So I feel like in the music industry in particular, we all can recall multiple artists who were worldwide famous, that were signed to major labels, and they are broke. They don't have any money. You know, they don't have any money now, or they didn't make any money from the records that they made that made them super famous. And basically they were just slaves to their contract, and before it was too late, you know, the career, the buzz, whatever happens to whoever, whenever, sometimes they get locked in these contracts for their whole career, and their most popping work that should be still paying their bills to this day, it's going to their label and whoever owns, you know, their group and things like that. So sometimes especially when you're a new artist too, and you don't have leverage, meaning like you don't have a super big fan base already on your own, so where you can negotiate to get yourself a decent contract, you don't want to go into that too fast. And sometimes you just have to look at what is important to you, because there are so many successful artists who are not signed to major labels, and they're making so much more money than the people that are. They just don't have the big machine to be like a super pop star, you know, but they're still successful and able to travel, able to tour, able to pay their bills and live comfortably based off of selling merch and their streams, because they have a real fan base. So it's all about which way that you want to go. And also, I just want to point out too, sometimes people sign too soon to labels and then they get shelved. So there's so many artists that you guys don't even know about who are sitting under the RCAs and the Sonys and Rock Nation, and they are shelved as an artist. And that's something that you have to take in accountability, because there are always going to be favorites at labels. People who are doing the most are going to get most of the budget. They're going to get most of the attention. And there are a lot of artists who get caught in the wayside, and they can't release their music for years. They lose fan base, they lose momentum because they were thirsty to sign a contract, and then bam, you know, before you know it, your time as an artist can come and go so quick. So I would just say definitely think 3 times before deciding what kind of artist that you want to be, and just choose what's best for you and what's going to make your life the best. My next thing is, okay, so especially in the beginning, a lot of people are not going to respect your time, and they're not going to respect your craft. Meaning, like, there's been so many times in the past when I was working with different people, videographers, and this is also even more true for women artists when you're working with other guys. And honestly, it really is not a gender thing, because it could go either way, but especially when it's a woman working with a guy, coming to videography and getting your videos and stuff like that, people don't take you serious. Like, even if you're spending your last and, you know, you paid somebody $500, $600, sometimes it's gonna be hard to get people to even shoot your videos. Or if they do, sometimes people will shoot your videos and they'll take forever to edit it and get it back to you, take months. Artists get taken advantage of constantly, and you just have to be careful about that. And that's why it all goes back to number 1, Or number two, do as much as you can on your own. Get people that you know, character wise, to try to help you out. But if you can learn how to edit your own video so you don't have to be held up, do that. 1000% do that. If you can find someone that you can work with who's going to be taking your stuff seriously and making sure that they're taking the time to finish your projects as a priority, do that. Please do that. But always try to do as much as you can on your own. Keep it all in-house as much as you can so that you can keep your momentum. The next thing is, you are not always going to have a strong support system. So this is very important. Being an artist is very hard. In the beginning, when you first announce that you're being an artist, typically like anything else, like when you're starting a business and stuff like that, people will be excited for you and they'll be excited to support your first song, your first project, you know, your first visual, whatever it is. But as time goes on, there are going to be a lot of times where you feel like you don't have any support. It's going to get hard. So like all of these things can be different for different people, but I know a lot of people who are artists, and synonymously we pretty much all have felt this way and wanted to give up because we felt like no one cared about our music, nobody cared. So it's a very emotionally strenuous thing trying to be a music artist, because there will be times where you feel like it's just you fighting for it, and there's gonna be times where you feel like, you know, it may not be worth it, but if you really love it, just do it for you. The next thing is going to be, you need to have other incomes to fund your dream. So I know that there's so many stories about how, you know, artists quit their job and, you know, they decided that they weren't going to do this, and then they just fell into a label deal, and now look at them, you know. But for most artists, you need to have another source of income, and it doesn't have to be a job. But like, say me, I have my OnlyFans income, and then I also have my lingerie income now, and always looking to add incomes. Just don't get too tunnel vision when it comes to it, because at the end of the day, everything costs money, especially once you do want to start working with people. People love to take advantage of artists. First of all, that's another thing that I misput in here. So basically, people will try to just get as much as they can out of you, regardless of whether you got money or you don't. So it's better to have it. If you are going to try to work with other people and you're not going to be able to do things yourself, or you're just to the point where you're tired of doing everything yourself and you need to outsource some things, you need to have an income. You need to have an extra income, however you do it. And it doesn't make you less than the artist. It doesn't give your story, make it any better or worse. You know, it just is what it is. Things cost money and people are gonna ask for it. Let's see. It's not, oh yeah, this next one is, it's not a race, take your time. So one thing that I would have told myself is, when I first started, would be like, take your time, because now I'm at a place now that I feel like there's no reason to rush. You want to create the best product every single time that you can, whether it's a single, whether it's a body of work, whether it's a video. You want to take your time to do the best job that you can do, because people notice quality, and quality is better than quantity. So take your time. There's literally no rush. Do the best that you can do each and every single time. And that doesn't mean that, you know, take forever. You know, give yourself deadlines. I feel like that's what responsible people and good manifestors always give yourself a timeline, but make sure that, you know, you still are not rushing. And the last thing that I wrote down is, most people are in it for themselves and will not give you so most people are in it for themselves and they're not going to give you a helping hand. There are going to be lots of people that, you know, when you're an artist, that are going to be successful and get these other opportunities. Don't bank on other people to be your reason why you're going to be successful, because in most cases people are not going to give you a hand up. So just be prepared to do everything yourself and take the long road. Be prepared to take the long road. For some people it's shorter than others, but if you love this, be prepared to do it for the long haul, and just do it as long as you can until you are able to make a living, because eventually, just like anything else, if you put the time in, you will be successful. So So that's all for this video. Thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure to give me a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel if you like tips like these, and I will see you guys next time. As always, stay posh.